I just wanted a quick recap of weeks 1 through 4. And I'm going to do this in context of a picture that I took this week at Atlantic Beach in North Carolina. Basically my understanding of coastlines has led me to look at the coastline, look at a beach in a different way than before. And here I am at Atlantic Beach, and instead of enjoying the water, I'm looking at the dunes and looking at the situation there. And this photograph doesn't capture that there's a lot of development up where I'm pointing here. So there's a lot of houses up here. The beach is this was high tide. So at the low tide mark, the shore face would have been right around here where the waves are breaking out here. So it's a reasonably wide beach at low tide, but at high tide you can see that the beach is encroaching on these dunes, and you can see they've taken quite a bit of effort to plant additional grasses on the dunes to stabilize the sand in this part of the beach here. This is a fairly healthy dune system right here, and then the houses are on the other side. But when I look at this beach, I think, first of all, that a lot of the sand has been eroded away, and this beach is in sore need of a replenishment for to keep it viable for tourists and local residents. At the same time, I look at this part of the beach is quite vulnerable because say a storm hit at high tide, you could see a lot of this sand being stripped away with these grasses not holding the sand in place very well. Compared to a number of other beaches that we've looked at, this is a pretty healthy dune system. So these houses here probably would withstand a nor'easter type storm pretty well, magnitude 1 or 2 storm pretty well. But when we get to that magnitude 3 or 4, you could see a storm surge easily topping these dunes, this dune system up here and encroaching on the properties. You just see the rooftops over here. So, again, when I go to a beach like this, I think no way would I ever buy a house here. It would not be a good investment for me. And that's news since I learned a lot more about coastlines. And I hope that you have a better realization about coastal property now yourselves. And secondly, I look at a beach and I think, what is the long-term viability of this beach? In this case, moderately viable. It's not as bad as some places where the dunes have been stripped away, and the houses are really close to the shore face. But then imagine, with module 4 under your belts, imagine a sea level rise of a meter, so that we'd have this dune system covered. The water would be up to here, and at high tide it might be up to here. And then imagine a storm surge of 5-6 feet from a magnitude 3 hurricane, and you'll easily see this being topped and houses being damaged on the other side. All right, so that's an overview of modules 1 to 4 in terms of what you might personally take away. And I think the only other thing for me to say now before we delve into hurricanes next week is I would highly recommend that you take some time this weekend, or if you haven't done so, and to start doing your audit, your CVAT, your capstone audit, and making sure that you keep up to date with that project, because there are quizzes and labs for all 13 modules, and if you try to catch up at the very end, it's going to be a huge amount of work in a very difficult situation. So try to keep up, and please holler if you need any information or advice on how you're doing, and I'd be happy to help. So that's it for me.